You're listening to the Unreasonable Fridays Podcast Network.
Go ahead, stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Ad Space. I'm your host, Aaron Rand Freeman, and with me, the actual host, the owner and proprietor, the owner of the deed, landlord of ADD Space, the most delicious name in podcasting, at least Bacon Out.
Hello. And with us today is our consensual hostage, Justin, from the 3/5 podcast.
Justin of his own volition. That's his full name.
Yeah, I'm not sure the words consensual and hostage go together. One of those words describes my situation here. But yeah, I'm here. I've pleaded with the gods of Chrome and my laptop, and they have decided that no, I don't get to use my camera today. I had to sacrifice. Give a little bit of blood just for my mixer to work. So it's an adventure today. It's been an adventure with my laptop today.
Okay. So we've got your placeholder, which is fine. Well, welcome. And also in this age of multiple views and all this multiple levels of consent, there is such thing as a consensual hostage of their own volition. It might be what we're all into, and it's something that we're sharing with the audience through our podcast. But that's neither here nor there. We have housekeeping. We have names to follow, Twitters to follow, Patreons, things like that, just so that we can get it out of the way, because I tend to end the show abruptly, and I'm not really going to stop doing that. So if you are listening, you can follow the show. The entire suite of Unreasonable Friday shows, including some new shows that are under the hood. Twitter.com/unfridays. That's Twitter.com/UN Fridays, like United Nation Fridays, UN Fridays. If you like bacon, I have it here on Twitter. B4C0NZILLA. That is B4C0NZILLA. Find bacon. Justin, you LJ90. LJ is an LJAY90 on Twitter. And we do have a Patreon.
Is it LJ490 or 90?
It's LJ90.
I don't know why I always want to put the 4 in there.
It's because it's all the numbers from your own Twitter handle, but that's neither here nor there. We have a Patreon. Patreon.com on Fridays.
I don't know what Patreons are.
It's where people donate to mostly keep the lights on. We don't have lavish salaries here. We keep the lights on. We keep the internet. We keep the content on the internet. That's pretty much it. That's all. What we are going to start doing is reading patrons' names, because I actually kind of think that's sweet. And making
we should read patrons' names.
Also, I'm going to tell everyone a little bit about every patron. Our top patrons will share a small, completely original, completely accurate, 100% completely factual narrative about our patrons. And yeah, I think we've got all the business out of the way.
All right, let's go.
Now, this is Justin's here. I feel like there's Final Fantasy. So before we get to the Final
Under
Fantasy,
normal circumstances, it would be. But the patch came out 2 days ago. No, yesterday. I'm sorry. Today's Wednesday. The patch came out yesterday.
Feels like it's been a week. I'm crying.
Yeah, it has been 36 hours. Sure, I'm just going to say 36 hours since the patch was released.
All I know
There's
is
no
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no way we can give you our comprehensive, in-depth thoughts on it. I just started the story. Story good. New quality of life changes. Those are good. They completely changed gathering for collectibles. It's super easy now. That's all I got for you. Like, I haven't even touched the new trials. I haven't touched the raid. I did the new dungeon. It's diabolical. And I'm 90% sure they reused assets from Super Mario RPG.
They did.
So that was nice. Okay, so I wasn't tripping because I'm like, I hear these bounce noises. This is Mario RPG jump noises. Like, I know what I hear. I know my favorite Super Nintendo game sounds. But yeah, it's good. I mean, it's Final Fantasy patch. We'll give you more stuff on it next time we record and talk about it. But that's not why I'm here today.
I can tell you my shit isn't selling, and I'm pissed off about it because of bots and undercutters.
Ooh, you got a scalping problem in that shit? Oh shit.
Yo, some asshole undercut me by 50%. When I say 50%, I was selling something for 1.5 million gil.
Mm-hmm.
And they undercut me by 50%.
Should we find this person and box their ears?
Because they're that person literally
because
trying
in
to
this world of Final Fantasy, the way the right. So there's two things happening, right? Like there's people that are being so short-sighted, like, oh my gosh, I got to sell this stuff. When anytime a new patch comes out, anytime new crafting recipes come out, whatever you put on the board for new is going to sell because everybody wants the new stuff for the new raids that just came out, especially since they dropped the Savage and EX same day this time. And Titan and Real just dropped, so everybody wants to get the new gear. It's going to sell it whatever you put it at because these people are thirsty. You've all seen the Denzel clip from Malcolm X. That brother's starving. They starving out here. That brother's starving. You don't have to undercut. If you see someone selling for 2 mil, what does that mean you do? You sell for 2 mil. It is an unspoken agreement, a gentleman's agreement, if you will, between all.
It's not even just that. If you post something on the market board at the same price as the person whose name shows up at the top of the market board, yours shows above theirs. You don't have to undercut by anything. You just have to be the most recent person to put it on the board at that price.
The only reason to undercut is if you are just so short-sighted and not, properly processing the environment, or if, as Bacon alluded to, you're trying to tank the economy, so everything is cheap.
Right. So the reason why people would do that is there are people who are, I've been calling them bot tycoons. So essentially they have a lot of money. Money doesn't mean anything to them. So what they're doing is they're tanking the market board so nobody else can make money. And they use bots. They use a lot of bots to gather and just craft stuff and then spam the market board and repeatedly go on there. There's a lot of names that are already there's a lot of confirmed botters, and Squeenix hasn't done anything about them, and it's really a huge problem.
For all the vigilance that Squeenix has on real money transfers and people subverting the game and the terms of service, they put out a report every day on everyone that they've banned from the game. They've let this slide. I don't think they see their economy tanking as a bad thing. One of the consequences of them making crafting infinitely more accessible was if everybody can craft, everybody can make money, and then you got people that don't understand how the market works, and it inadvertently tanks the market. And Squeenix was like, yeah, okay, that's fine.
Well, and that wouldn't even be such an issue because, like I said, there is there's still supply and demand stuff. But the issue is when you have botters doing it, because botters are using third-party software, which is against the terms of service to break the economy. All of this is against the terms of service. This isn't using something within the system to break it. This is using stuff outside the system to break it so nobody can get ahead or get anything. And it gets really bad. There's a few things that regardless of the demand is so high that you can't really tank it because they're in constant demand, which is airship supplies stuff, because you literally need thousands of mats for these airships and like submarines to craft them, like literal thousands. So like you can't really tank the market board on that because they're always being bought. But when it comes to stuff like gear or whatnot, all at some point it makes it to where there's no point in crafting there's almost no point in crafting stuff because the price is just going to tank. Like the work gets to where it gets to the point where the amount of work you put in to craft the item, because they make really hard to craft recipes. Like I was sitting here, it took me like 2 to 3 hours to fix my macros and then get everything right so I could like make sure that everything was, good to go. And like they're really difficult to craft. And then just seeing your stuff like super tanked in an hour, like the amount of work you have to put in to do it doesn't equal the cost. And it's super discouraging, which again is a detriment to gameplay, which is why something needs to be done about it, because this is going to keep people from actually crafting and using the crafting system. It's super great. I'm not really upset and annoyed.
I'm just anti-scalper as part of the culture. So I don't know exactly what you're talking about. But if
scalpers inflate prices, these people are dropping prices.
Yes. There's economic saboteurs.
Yes.
Either way. Yes.
Yes.
Then I'd like to box their ears on principle. That's my particular take from the layperson way on the outside.
I'm checking my prices right now. Somebody literally undercut me by 400,000. I was selling it for like
for no reason.
Sorry, 500,000 because I was selling it at $1 million and then they dropped it to 500,000.
That's unacceptable.
No reason.
I mean, I'm trying to give this the time before I go into next gen console scalping issues. The infinite scammery. But I don't wanna undercut you talking about Final Fantasy. But I certainly do want to talk about the man who got
I see what you did there.
I do want to. Oh yeah, but I do want to talk about the man in England who got a brick from eBay. No, Utah. No. They're doing the Fast and the Furious thing in England. Their man in Utah got a brick on eBay. He got a PlayStation 5. It was a brick.
Literal brick. A cinder block.
Cinder block is funny. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not gonna lie. There's a certain amount of effort that goes into it when someone doesn't send you a brick or a pile of bricks, but in fact a cinder block. Like they're sending you a message. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat everything you just said? Because it was one of those things that hit that level of excuse me, where it just like went completely over.
He paid $900. Let's see if we can find the exact story here so we can go into it. Let's see. Where's this Brickman's fucking, where's the story of this Brickman? We'll just go with the first link here. There we go. Yep, EP, yep. But rather than, let's see, in Orem, Utah, the Orem, Utah-based man thought he managed to obtain one of the sought-after consoles by paying well above its retail value. But rather than getting the console after winning the eBay listing, the 38-year-old victim claimed he received a PS5 box, receiving a chunk of concrete. So he paid $900 to get a cinder block. And, yeah. Scalpers must be stopped. I'm particularly in between a rock and a hard place because I paid the scalpers, but I paid the high-end merchant vessel that StockX So it's like it's very much assassins in suits and hors d'oeuvres at the door and champagne while you wait for scalpers to provide you with a genuine item marked up. Where they charge you more to confirm that it's not a cinder block, but the entire process starts from scalping, but it's such high-end, classy scalping where once you produce the money, you are then given white glove service right up until the moment of delivery. But it is still scalping, just the best possible scalping, from a place where you're supposed to be getting sneakers.
Okay, so this was my confusion. I was like, since when do they sell consoles?
Right. It's new. It's
since StockX and Forex and all the hype beast scalper mechanisms realized, wait a second, we can expand from the world of fashion. Hype beast exists in every subculture. Let's tackle gaming next.
Right. The worst thing is that they're the best scalper. That's the worst part about it. Like I said, I paid extra. I'm not talking about how much I paid, but I paid extra to confirm. So it's like as soon as you pay the scalper, it's like they sit you down and they give you champagne, they give you hors d'oeuvres. They go, all right, your item is being sent to a StockX authentication facility for full authentication. If anything is wrong, we will give you a full refund. Please stand by. Then you can track it. It's been received. Hello, it's been received at our StockX authentication facility. Authenticating now. Hello, Mr. Freeman. Yes, your item has been confirmed. You'll be sending on the 8th of December. And it's so prompt that shit was already in fucking Texas, like on the 8th when I got the email that it was in transit. I was like, dude, did you just beam it here? So it's like, I don't know what to say. They're the best scalpers I've ever seen, but they're still scalpers. It's like a merchant vessel. Like I said, it's like all these items are great. They're marked up, but they're pristine, and everyone who used to own them is probably dead. But it's great on this vessel. The wine is nice. You assassins smell really good. It's so, like this. What?
Jared just said StockX is moving NVIDIA 390s and AMD high-end
yes, they
parts.
are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And they had the unmitigated call. They emailed me. They said, hey, so we're selling next-gen consoles. Join the raffle. Bid $1 and you can win a console for $1. And I'm like, you motherfucker. I swear to God, if I could see them, just give me my fucking Xbox. Just give me the fucking thing. But I'm fine, though.
That is hysterical.
I'm fine. Anywho, it'll be here tomorrow.
That is why I'm waiting on my next console. All of this is why I'm waiting.
Here's the deal: if you want a PlayStation 5, the markup is so substantial. Like I got an Xbox. There was a period of time when the markup went real down close, very much close to market value. Like it was like $100 more than market value. So I was like, okay, thanks culture for focusing on one console over the other by such an extreme degree. And then I got it then. PlayStation's been $1,000 the whole time. PlayStation 5 has been $1,000 straight since it came out, straight through Black Friday, straight through Thanksgiving, careening into Christmas. That shit's been $1,000 straight. If I wanted a PlayStation 5, I don't know what the fuck. I'm waiting. On PlayStation 5, you gotta wait.
To bring this back to Final Fantasy 14. If the price is set at 1,000, why would I undercut that? Everybody's clearly buying it for 1,000. Let me just put my offering out there at 1,000, and it'll sell when it sells. I don't have to undercut.
I just don't. Why are you doing this? The worst part is the person who just undercut me by 500,000. By the name alone, I know it's a bot. It's Lisa with like 2-3 A's at the end of it, and I'm like, that's a bot. That retainer is a bot. Fuck my life. So like when I see that, I just like, you know what? I'm not gonna lower the price. I'm just not. Either
on GP. GP.
I'm just not gonna lower the price. I'm just gonna leave it on there. And if the prices don't even out by this evening, or because what happened yesterday is like all the super cheap ones just got bought. And then the high end ones were still there, and I was selling stuff yesterday evening by that. I guess the botters are on East Coast time. So I was just like, oh, I like one of my stuff sold for 1.5 million. Awesome. So I'm not gonna worry about, I'm just gonna reset like my price point in the mornings and just go from there, because the market board is so unstable right now. It's disgusting. And again, this wouldn't be an issue if it didn't take a shit ton of work to do these. But they take a shit ton of work.
Mm-hmm.
I literally gathered all day yesterday.
Literally. And I used up all the mats. All of them. I am matless. I have no mats.
Bacon had me out in the fields, literally picking cotton, so they could be in the big house.
Okay, you can stop that bullshit right now, because I was both in the field and in the house. So let's not play that.
You were in the field for one cycle. I saw you out there for one cycle. I was out there.
I was out there. I was back and forth. Every time I ran out of mats, I went back out for more, because the prices on the board so basically I was the second shift of crafting, and because I was up until like midnight making sure I was like, I had everything prepared for the patch, because like I have like a shit ton of stuff I had to do last week. So I was not sleeping for 3 hours when I have the flu. That's just, and my cat woke me up at 5 per usual. And I got my coffee. I made sure I was wearing my comfy pajamas, and I sat at the computer, logged in, and started gathering. So like that was basically second shift. So I started gathering. I got my whole first wave of that first set of crafting was all my materials that I gathered and all of my allegory. And then I used that up. And then I got to use the spare materials that were left over, because Violet was just like, I'm taking a break. And I'm like, that's fine. So I used up those, and I went out gathering again. And I think I stopped gathering and crafting around 6 o'clock last night. So I was from like 5:30 in the morning to about 6:30 in the evening yesterday. Grafting. Yeah, you know what? That's fine. We're keeping it.
We made $32 million though. Like, I just want to reiterate, we made 32 mil.
We made more than that. I have stuff I haven't put in. I'm literally sitting on like 8-9 mil right now, and then I have 11 mil on the board.
I'm not trying to put your business out there in the streets. What the people know is
nigga, I literally don't care. Every time I'm like, I'm doing okay, people are like, oh, I have 15 million in the bank, and I'm like, I need you to shut up. As I'm being undercut by 50% right now, like, I'm gonna need you to shut up.
Okay. Well, that's a very fair question. Is if Justin's not here for Final Fantasy, then what's going on then? What's happening here? I feel like there's something here that I'm missing. There's something here I don't know about.
There was something.
Well, okay. So there is something. It's a panoramic outside, so people are in more. And one of the things that I have gotten back into, now that my Animal Crossing villagers have all shamed me and my house with spiders and cobwebs, the other thing that I've gotten back into is Yu-Gi-Oh! And I am shocked, one, at how much the game has changed since the last 15 years when I first touched it in high school. I was like, holy crap, what the fuck is all of this? But I was talking with Bacon, and, we figured we could make a topic out of it. The game itself, like, just compared to its contemporaries in the tabletop card playing game genre, it is incredibly accessible to get into and accessible to new people. And okay, so the real reason this happened is one of my homeboys, Brandon, keeps beating my ass in Pokemon, and I'll accept that, because to be good competitively at Pokemon, there's a lot of min-maxing and specific hunting for traits you have to do that I really don't care about doing. So okay, cool. I'm fine with getting my ass beaten Pokemon. There's a level of investment that I acknowledge you have to do, and I acknowledge that I really just don't feel like doing. That's cool. I can accept that L. But we were talking, and he said he was also interested in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I was like, okay, you're not gonna hold me like you do in Pokemon. Like it's just not gonna happen. So we both got Yu-Gi-Oh! On the Switch. I put together what I thought was a competent Blue Eyes deck. And he showed up with Evil Swarms, doing all sorts of shit I'd never seen before. And I'm like, oh, okay. Clearly I need to learn. I need to re-educate myself. The shit I did at 15 doesn't work now. 34 years old.
Blue Eyes are nothing. Nobody cares.
Well, no, apparently the new way to play Blue Eyes is put them in the graveyard. That's the new way to like, I'm not even kidding. I actually put together a new Blue Eyes deck. The whole purpose of it is just send it to the graveyard and bring out the better stuff. And I'm like, oh. But I learned all of that because in my research, and I don't know if this is just my own personal bubble and my personal filters that I've set up in my personal life, but the Yu-Gi-Oh! Scene has been taken over by hood niggas. And like, that was the most pleasant surprise.
No, listen. Hood niggers do Yu-Gi-Oh! And I mean like everything Yu-Gi-Oh! And everything Pokemon. So like even like competitive like shield, like sword and shield folks, those are hood niggas. Like they're all, I love hood nerds.
And so as I'm like researching, I'm like, okay, cool. What is the new? I don't want to go meta because I feel like that just cheapens it. I want to see like what's out there, what new concepts are out there, and then I'll build something around that. One of the people I came across, this YouTuber DPYGO, all he does is he does 2-minute videos on explaining cards. But the way he does it is he'll put in clips of classic Eddie Murphy stand-up, freestyle battles. And I was like, oh, my people have arrived. Like, I understand all these references that you're making. Like, half your audience probably doesn't get it, but I do. And now we've made that connection. This is a brilliant marketing strategy, young man. I appreciate this. I salute this. And as I get further down this rabbit hole, I'm like, holy shit, all the people that I'm looking up on this are like, okay, we're amongst friends. We can talk freely. We can discuss these things. For a while, the Black nerd space was occupied by, I will be generous and say, white adjacent Black people, right? Like their whole get down was, I'm Black, but I'm not too Black, right? That's just what the get down was. Whether that was them performing to get on or whether that was just the real personality, it is what it is. So, to me, it was a pleasant surprise to see a bunch of people that have a similar background to myself, as my wife tells me, and I'm slowly coming to realize I have Black Air Force energy. Seeing a bunch of Black Air Force N-words breaking down the core concepts of Yu-Gi-Oh! I was like, my tribe, I'm home. This is warming my little heart.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh no, we lost Justin. No, Justin, come back.
Did we lose Justin in the middle of it? We lost Justin in the middle of his own segment.
I know, we lost him in the middle of his own segment. We need to pray for this. We need to pray to the segment gods.
Yeah, we're gonna have to return Justin.
We'll have to return here. We'll have to.
We're
he uncovered the Black Air Force Yu-Gi-Oh! Conspiracy and everything crashed.
That.
That's what Jared's saying, and you know what? I think I have to agree.
Well, until Justin's returned safely, we will not mention Yu-Gi-Oh! On this podcast anyway.
Oh,
he survived!
Yes, the conspiracy didn't get him.
Wait, no, hold on. Who is this?
Wait, is it? Oh wait, Mr. Jimothy just said, did Hotep Kaiba take him out because he was spitting too much realness? He survived. Wait, did he? He might not. No, they took him back. He tried to crawl out from the spaces and he got taken.
We'll leave that be. I didn't know that was a thing. I knew Pokemon was. I didn't know Pokemon. I knew Pokemon's resurgence was a thing. Which also, by the way, if you have any information, because I've had so many parents asking me about how to get Pokemon cards for their kids.
That is so cute.
Right. And I'm like, I don't know shit about it, but I do know lots and lots and lots of niggas. So if you know anything about getting Pokemon cards in 2020, please hit me up on Twitter. That's ANS Freeman. Or you can email Freeman at unfpodcast.com. I need to know. I need to know exactly how and why I'm supposed to be getting Pokemon cards, so I can put these parents on rails, because everyone's like, how do I get Pokemon cards? My kid's supposed to Pokemon. I get Pokemon. I don't know, but you guys do. Please assist.
So Jarrett's saying local comic book stores might have them. So what you might want to do then is just like let them know to contact, even though like it's a pandemic and you can't really go into most comic book stores. A lot of comic book stores still have they make a lot of money like doing internet shit.
Right.
So they might be able to provide that direction, or you can order through them and then they'll ship to you. And if they don't, they're just assholes and find a different one.
Totally noted.
But that's how I know.
Well, that was sad.
It's okay. We just figured that assassins came, like Hotep Kaiba assassins came to stop you.
Hilarious.
Realness.
Well, okay, so hold on. Where did I cut off at?
Oh Lord, I don't know. So much.
Okay.
Happened.
Well then, the TLDR version. Me and my shit talking friend, he was kicking my ass in Pokemon. And that's fine. Like I think I hadn't disappeared by then. Like to be good competitively at Pokemon, like it requires a certain set of min-maxing and hunting, and I'm like, cool, I'm not gonna do that. Yu-Gi-Oh, however, that's relatively easy. I know what I want to build, I know what cards I need, and the games make it super easy to do that. It's a bit of a grind, but it's not, a random number generator of success, right? Except I did get hoed, and then I was like, okay, cool. So how do I get good? Like, what new things do I need to learn? And my rabbit hole of learning on how to get good, YouTube, all like nothing but black folks, like nothing but black folks. And I don't know. Again, that could just be me and my personal bubble, my filters, the way I've curated my spaces that it already knew what I wanted to see.
I'm going to say no on that one strictly because of the way YouTube works. Because regardless of how your settings are in YouTube, if you're trying to find any black content, it literally gives you the opposite.
Well, see, that's the thing. I wasn't even looking explicitly for black content. I was just like, okay, cool. I just need someone to show me what's new in Yu-Gi-Oh! And black people. Like the top YouTubers, the top Yu-Gi-Oh YouTubers, all black.
Yeah,
right?
No, that's not by coincidence. That's the top black.
And
the top YouTubers for Yu-Gi-Oh are black. Have you not noticed the Yu-Gi-Oh nigga memes? They're everywhere.
See, I didn't realize that the memes are reality. I didn't realize.
No,
so that warms my little black Air Force heart, because it's like, okay. We're amongst friends. Like, did I get to this part, or was I cut out by this part? When I said we're amongst friends, we can talk freely.
That's literally where you got cut out.
Right.
Okay. It's probably for the best then. We're amongst friends. We can talk freely. Black nerd spaces in the beginning were popularized by black people whose whole get down was they're white adjacent, right? Their whole get down was I'm black, but I'm not too black, right? Whether that was their actual personality or whether that was their performance to get on, whatever, that's what their get down was. There has been a shift where black people are starting to embrace more of their fuller selves and just not perform and put on for the camera. And it was comforting to me to see that the Yu-Gi-Oh scene has been taken over by black dudes that are just like, yeah, whatever. I'm me. You're gonna get me at my fullest, right? You either rock with me for me, or you rock with me for what I put out, but I'm not changing for anybody. And that was comforting for me to see, especially someone who has seen how the space started and where we are now. Like that was cool to me. And so Bacon and I were talking about it, and I think, and they confirmed, that is because as a game, Yu-Gi-Oh is relatively easy and accessible to get into, right? Like even if you don't want to put money into the real cards, they have official tournaments for the games they put out, and the games are relatively cheap, right? Like the game on the Switch, I got that was a Christmas gift to me, but Brandon was able to get it for like $20. And it's their whole card library from everything that's been released from the beginning to March 2020. I think that's when the update came out. And you don't have to put any additional money into the game. Like if you want other cards, just play the game and you'll get the cards. And Nintendo, Konami, they're all really good about having tournaments around the video game and the card game. So it's like, cool, I don't have the money to spend on physical cards. I can always participate competitively in this other space too, with less of a financial investment. So that's one level of accessibility. The other one is it's just relatively, it's simple to play. Like it's real easy to play. One thing because when I was a kid, I did want to get into Magic, but my 9-year-old brain could not wrap around the Magic rule set. I'm like, the fuck do you mean tap for mana? What does that mean?
Right? What the fuck does tap for mana mean?
But Yu-Gi-Oh, this shit's real simple. Monster, attack. Here's a trap. Game. I'm like, okay, it's actually relatively simple. Like, I get it.
The interesting thing, so okay, I've been a nerd forever, and I've been a nerd in a way to where like I didn't even actually know I was a nerd until I was like in my early 20s, and my coworkers who were like 10 years older than me are like, Bacon, you are the nerdiest person I've ever met in my entire life. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because nobody had ever called me a nerd. Ever. Up until I was like 2021. And they're like, you are really nerdy. So like all the Black people that I did know were also nerds. My dad is a nerd. My dad is a huge dork. And like even like, you know, friends of mine, like their friends, and even now like just lots of Black folks who are nerds. But what I did find, you know, especially even with like, you know, folks from the hood, is that they never gave up being a nerd. They just didn't talk about it. It was like if you had like it was like it was part of the code switching. Like there it was like a tri-level of code switching. Like, here's how I am around white people. Here's how I am around my people. Here's how I am with like my little group of dorks. If that makes sense.
And even the level of code switching there, it's not too much code switching as it is just changing the topics of conversation, right? Like as you saying that, it hits me. My dad was into Star Wars, Star Trek, and that. Like I started reading comic books because of my dad's X-Men comic collection.
My addiction to high fantasy is literally because of my dad. I would just steal his books. Like my entire huge addiction is fantasy and science fiction is directly from my father. And then of course my mom also really likes high fantasy, but like where it gets into like the romance stuff, like that my mom and I share. Although she gets into super smutty territories where I'm just like I blush. So like that one's actually funny because like if you use a Nook and you know you have your Nook friends, you can see you can see the titles of what your Nook friends are reading, and the titles were enough to make me just go like. And not just because my mom was reading them, I was just like, oh my God. But yeah, like, I mean, they just didn't, it just wasn't something that like hood niggas would talk about in like mixed company. Like it was fine if it was around your friends, and sometimes like their friends would just be like, haha, you're a dork, but you know what, it didn't fucking matter. But like
that was my high school experience. And I guess watching anytime the Black nerd topic would come up on Twitter, it was always a certain type of Black nerd that never really let go of the quote unquote trauma. Well, not quote unquote, the trauma that they experienced in high school. I hear that and I'm like, yo, that wasn't my experience though. And again, maybe that's just because my bubble, what happened, my high school, we had 10 Black people in my graduating class. So there weren't a lot of us. So we all just clung together out of necessity. So like I could show up in a Rurouni Kenshin t-shirt with like the fight with him and like it was actually a pretty dope t-shirt. Like the t-shirt was all the panels of him versus Saito on the front.
That's
And then the like every other panel was colored. Like it was a really dope ass shirt. But, you know, still like if you don't get the reference, it's like, yo, what is this shit? So I thought it was the cleanest shit. I came to school one day with that shirt and I was like, yo, that shit is whack. What are you doing? And then that was the end of it. Right? Like it wasn't this whole thing of I was bullied. No, I got clowned for like a minute, and then it was like, actually, that shit is kind of fire. Like I'm not gonna lie, that shit is kind of dope. Now the matching Nikes to go with it, like you couldn't tell me shit. But like that was my experience. So I'm realizing that wasn't everybody's experience, and trying to reconcile that with like what I would see in the early days of content creation. It's like, yo, y'all are into the same shit that I'm into, but clearly we wouldn't hang out. Right? Like, I can tell if we both walked into a room, you would not hang out with me. Right? Like, I could hang out with you, but you'd be like, you keep that Joe Budden shit over there. Oh God, high school Justin's favorite rapper was Joe Budden. Like I was a moody 16-year-old. And when a moody 16-year-old hears 10 minutes for the first time, they're like, oh my gosh, this speaks to my angst. And it's like, have you listened to it as an adult? Maybe you shouldn't be relating to that song the way you think you do. But it's so sad. Yeah. Is it?
I was heavy into punk music, and I tried really hard to get into like the goth scene at the time. Cause like, I don't know what the fuck it is like about the desert, but the desert is like goth country. 110 degrees outside, you got goths outside with like black parasols and like dressed all black head to toe. I don't know. But then I realized like my personality just didn't fit in that area whatsoever. And I'm also a little too angry. But the punk scene has always fit me. It's also very political, which people hate. So that's kind of where my group was. High school was a trip, man.
Yeah. High school was a trip. It happened. I wish more people could properly address and process the things that happened to them when they were literal children and not use those to extrapolate on what would happen to them as whole ass adults.
People also don't process the things that happen to them as adults. So
that is 100% valid. I should learn to extend more empathy to these people. But they make it so hard. Oh my God.
My therapist puts it this way. Acknowledging that the person is at the best state for what they have right now. And there's degrees of which you can deal with that or decide not to deal with that. But like, this is the best state that they are in. This is the best that they got right now. And you don't have to deal with that. But that's basically it's actually kind of like a nice form of like peace. Where it's just like, I don't need to be angry at you.
I mean,
you are getting your dollar's worth from your therapist. That was great. Like I'm taking a note of that.
I love him. He is fantastic.
I mean,
that also reminds me, I have to send him the wedding.
Oh yeah, Bacon and Abby got married. It was great. Like that. Now that it's not often I get to use a Two Americas reference when playing Final Fantasy 14, but the two parties, the FC, the guild, the free company, and the homies from the Novice Network, that was a Two Americas situation, and it was so great. Like it was amazing.
Yeah, and when I say like, so weddings in Final Fantasy are like full on weddings, like we actually had to do preparation work for the wedding. There's a quest that takes you through the wedding preparation work. and like the wedding itself is like an hour long, even if you try to expedite it. And like the funny part,
we did not.
No, I was trying to. I was like, no, hit the button. It was just like, because like literally, I was just stuck in the dressing room while you guys were sitting down. I was just stuck in the dressing room doing nothing for 15 minutes. So like, there's a whole thing where like, you can make sure that your stuff is all ready, but like the married couple, the couple getting married, like they have their own dressing room, and while they're in the dressing room, people are in the chapel, like, you know, schmoozing and talking, taking screenshots, like being blue mages that are exploding. I know there was at least 3 blue mage explosions.
Yes, it was deliciously extra.
It was the
deliciously extra
I have ever seen. I do have the yeah, one of the blue mages that exploded is watching this right now. I do have the video of it in my Twitch. I'm gonna actually also segment out specifically the wedding portion because we did a shit ton of raiding afterwards. But it was very nice. And the hot tub party, the FC hot tub party afterwards was pretty great. Your pimp suit was hot. I was excited.
Yeah, like it was a lot of fun. And I just want to pat Bacon on the back for putting together not just the event, but the guild and all these people with all these different personalities, backgrounds, and we all just came together and had a good ass time. It was great.
It was really funny.
Like,
and
it was just fun.
And I've become like a mentor in the game, which mentors like help new players or returning players figure out what the hell is going on. They also help each other too, because there's actually different levels of mentors as well. And so I'm now officially like a full-fledged mentor, and I've made some friends within the novice network. And so there's like a whole group of them there that were at the wedding too. So it was all really great. Also, shout out to Squeenix for doing this. So like when you enter the chapel, it says, "Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, and all others." And I was just like,
it's the little things that the little nods, the little inclusivity nods they do where it's like, yo, not everybody's on the binary. Yeah, it's a relatively easy thing to do to patch it. Well, no, actually, it's not easy for Final Fantasy XIV to patch anything into that game. So the fact that they went through the effort to add literally and all others 3 words, that was probably a day out of someone. Like, right. That was a day for somebody.
And they're also making a point of they're slowly going through all the old glamours and making them all gender. So like this patch, they dropped like 9 of them, I think. And I know it like 9 is a small number, but this game was built on spaghetti code. So they're literally
so broken.
They are literally reworking chunks of the foundation, like not reworking, completely rebuilding chunks of the foundation with every patch. So they had to fix a bunch of stuff to even do that, because almost all of those were from Heaven's Word. So
yeah, and they don't have to go back and do that, right? Like they could just say, okay, cool, from this point on, we'll do the inclusivity stuff. It is way too much of a headache. And you know what? I think the community that has been with the game would understand that, yes, it is a gigantic pain, because when you first built the game, you built it on spaghetti, right? But it matters to them. And so, yeah, that's nice. Like it's nice that they care.
Yeah, and the caring part, honestly, that caring part makes me literally forgive them of so many flaws. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm just like, yeah, this may be a problem. Like the fact that we, that there's a huge inventory problem, and I'm just like, I don't care. I have to pay for retainers. That's fine.
Oh God, I finally got a new retainer, and I'm like, what? Who have I become? They're already filled. Like they've already maxed out inventory. I'm like, who am I? No,
it's fine. I like people were like, I can't believe I'm buying another retainer, and I'm just like, la 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 la. As I'm sitting over here with max retainers, I have 10. 10 is the max you can have. And they're all named after coffee. Also, by the way, I don't know if you knew this. I know we keep drifting into Final Fantasy because it's kind of like our life right now. But they dropped Zervin weapons now, and they are beautiful.
I will have to take a look.
I will now. I can now craft Zerpin weapons, and I could cry. They're so pretty. They're like glowy white and red, and I have materials for them, by the way.
Oh, nice.
That should.
I'll have to teach you up for the recipes.
So you have
last thing before we.
Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead.
You have to be a specialist to craft them. So
Okay.
But I'm a specialist. I'm an alchemy, blacksmith, and goldsmith specialist, which basically I can do anything except for dragoon and bard.
Okay, so I need to switch my spec because I have the stones where I can just like swap out.
Sorry. Yeah, no, swapping out the stones is easy. Sorry.
Yeah.
The other Aaron is saying 10 retainers, 0 knees, and he is gonna get thrown.
I mean,
you gotta you throw from the back and the legs and the knees.
I mean,
so
the knees aren't they're assumed, not seen. So everyone is just
actually seen. What are you talking about? There's actually knee detail.
I understand. It's just not a classic.
I don't see
knee.
it.
It's not a classic knee. Yeah, it's not a classic knee. It's
What?
more of
It
it's
is
more
100%
of
a
it's
classic
more
knee.
of an avant-garde knee based on our universal understanding of the concept of the knee. But it's not a knee that you can just see.
No, it's actually a knee that you can see. They even have kneeling emotes.
I understand. The knee is there. The knee is functioning.
That's not a small bend.
It's knee. I'm not saying there is no knee there. I'm saying is that it is a unique take on the concept of the knee, which everyone should be allowed to do as a nation of artists.
It is a full knee.
All right.
Retractable knee.
Fuck all of you.
Before we drift off that topic though, just for my own, I gotta put this out there for me because my ego isn't that strong. I'm up 2-1, by the way. He beat me that first time with his evil swarms with the XZ summons. I'm like, what the fuck is an XZs? Like this isn't how the game works. So came back, studied, learned that the proper place for the blue eyes is the graveyard, and I'm up 2-1 now. So I feel good. I feel good. I feel good.
We need to give Justin
because yes, I am that small of a person.
You want to win. There's no shame in wanting to win. There's no shame in wanting to do the research.
Well,
if you do the research,
it's wanting to win at something that I know I'm good at, right? Like again, Pokemon, I can lose in Pokemon. I know that I'm not competitively good in Pokemon. I'll be damned if I lose at something that I know I'm good at. Like I'll be damned. Like when I did play Destiny, there was a time where like if I lost in Crucible, I'd be like, okay, what the fuck just happened here? I know I'm not garbage.
Right. I mean,
so
there's no shame in. I'd say wanting to do the research and do the work is great. As long as you're not flipping a table over, then you're fine. That's you're not unplugging controllers.
Well, you played spades with black people. Come on, Aaron. You know what happens.
I have. That's what I'm saying. Is the fact that you've gone to YouTube as opposed to the table flip is admirable. And that's something there's no shame in having the competitive drive. It takes you into the realm of performing research.
You know what's a scary thing?
What?
Playing spades with your in-laws. That is a terrifying thing. Because on the one hand, I'm like, I'm not going to lose. But on the other hand, I'm like, would it be advantageous for me to not win in this situation?
So, funny thing, I don't know how to play spades. I asked to learn how to play spades because I found the spade stuff and I was given a no. But we do have darts and my family went hard into darts. So I guess there's like that thing like my dad actually like would do like professional dart stuff and we have like we had like professional dart boards and things like so we just throw darts. So darts was apparently the thing in my household. And spades was taken off. There was no spades at family events, but but we did darts. Now, I would like to know what caused this change to happen, because the spade stuff is clearly there that no one will touch. None of the Black people in my family will touch the spades.
Really?
So I want to know what happened for the family to go from spades to darts, but nobody will say anything.
That's a fair question. Like, I actually like that's an investigative journalistic endeavor.
Like,
No. Some questions are best left unanswered.
I'm just like,
The shift happened. Acknowledge it, and let's
I just
move
want
on.
to know. I would like to know how to play spades, and the answer is no.
And the thing about it is, it has to be an answer because, like, say, my family, my family did not teach spades for the same reason, but then it slid over to Uno. But then the same thing happened. Me and my sister still fighting each other and other kids. So the spirit of spades lives on. For your family to suppress the spirit of spades means something terrible happened, like a city was destroyed, like something was lost forever, like something really bad happened. For the spirit of spades to be like, no, we're going to play darts like gentlemen. That's against our nature.
I didn't say it was like gentlemen.
Well, how bad did it get? Because I know, like I said, Uno is essentially just Uno winds up like spades, especially if you're able to stack, which is the only rule set that matters.
Everybody has their own dart set, custom dart set. That's all I know.
Are niggas fighting over it?
No, I just know it's that serious.
Oh, then that's what I mean. It's like if it wasn't irritating people to the point of grudges being held, then the spirit of spades is something happened. I want to know what happened. I'm not saying in a rush. I'm saying is that if it ever comes up,
if it ever comes up, I'm telling everybody.
I would like to know. I would love to know what happened.
Is this shit gonna be everybody's business?
Right. So I learned how to play spades late in life, and I've only played spades twice in life. Yeah.
Mr. Jimothy said I stumbled on an anime backstory.
Right. Something happened. Like there's a house that is like a crater now. There might be some type of haunted land. There's a particular card that's haunted. It's probably a talking card, like something like JoJo, where it's got a spirit in it. Like it's something is up. There's a grand adventure that awaits you and only you, because your unique bloodline. Also, we can see you playing. I don't know if that's meant to be for the stream.
No, I literally put that up there on purpose. I was like, you know what? Let me just like prove that I'm playing while I'm streaming, since nobody believes that I'm playing games. If you hear the camera snaps, that's because I saw something that was really cute and I had to take a screenshot.
Okay. Yeah.
But the
as one does.
Yeah, I literally said I was going to be doing gathering and crafting during this stream. And that's literally what I'm doing, and people can see it. It's super cute. I specifically don't run dungeons or anything because all of the dungeons have really good music, and I want to hear the music.
Yeah.
So I stay out of it. But I'm gonna say I just got the Beast Tribe mount for the Qatari. The little mouse people.
Nice.
Oh my god, thank you, Streamlabs. So I set up an alert. I know, right? Right? Kitsune's like, ain't like we can see LJ, so I just like put him over LJ. There's a chat over LJ. I didn't cover your icon.
It works. It works.
So I did find in the mod tools that you can like send reminders, and so I made one of the reminders to drink water.
All right, so it's water time.
It's water time. Everybody hydrate.
Hydration break, folks.
And thanks again for the hydration checks. Yesterday, our fearless leader made sure that everybody was hydrated. Because again, it was patch day. People were on doing content, and they reminded us, yo, drink water, hydrate. We appreciate that.
So that's actually something I picked up from Diadem. So there's this instanced area that's part of Ishgard and rebuilding Ishgard. And it's called the Diadem. And it's this instanced area that's just islands, floating islands. And you basically just gather stuff in a circle and you just like keep going in a circle and gathering. So during like when the season is on, everybody is in there for the entire like session duration, because each session's like almost like 2 to 3 hours. And there's you can slot materia into your gear, and when you've worn your gear for a long period of time and like, you know, are doing stuff like hitting rocks or hitting trees, there's this thing called spirit bonding, and your spirit bond like slowly grows up. So when it hits 100%, if you have materia like slotted into your gear, you can do something called extract materia, and it basically means that your materia gave birth to a brand new materia. So people would be like every so often people would be yelling, hydrate and spirit bond check. Just to like just be like, drink water, you nerds, and check your materia. Because that's how you can get, like, getting materia for crafting and gathering specifically is a pain in the fucking ass. Like, it is really difficult and you need a shit ton of it. So that's also a good way to make money. If you don't care about like having like the best gear or stuff like that, you can just like sell materia. But that's something I actually learned from Diadem. So like every time I'd get a notification saying your spirit bond is at 100%, I would just type in spirit bond and hydration. And that's how nerds take care of each other.
That's the title of the show.
I was about to say that's the show title, Nerds Taking Care of Each Other. Because we got, y'all. We are all we got.
Yeah, it was really cute. It's like stuff like that makes me like the Final Fantasy community. And it kind of makes up for when you get like random healers in dungeons who are just like being dicks. I'm saying this both for August and Gumi, because they were running yesterday and they had the healer was so bad, like all three of them were standing in the back, like the tank and the 2 DPS, which was Gumi and Augie, and they're just like, the fuck are you doing, healer? What are you doing? Why are you here? But it's there's some greatness. That's why I like this game. All the nice people that I've met in it make up for that random jerk that always shows up. And it's,
you know what I think the theme of today's show is? It's community. Like, it's all about community and finding the community that suits you and suits your needs.
I just said that they tried to share their antidepressants with them. With that healer. Oh, that is something. Speaking of community, we have a community question.
We have a community question.
We have a community question. This is from our dear friend Ebby, who is also my wife. Ebby is now my wife.
That is precious and beautiful.
It's precious. Okay, what was Ebby's question? So Ebby has 3 questions, and they're destiny related.
Okay.
Ebby would like to know, 1, do y'all think Zavala can lay down pipe?
The Vanguard commander?
Yeah, like I said, destiny related.
You mean without weeping? No.
False. Yes, he can.
Absolutely, absolutely cannot.
And he's a Titan. Titans are all about smashing.
Not
like
him,
this
not
is
him.
No. Hold on.
Not Zavala.
I'm positive Zavala has the correct equipment, but doesn't know how to properly utilize it.
I'm saying is that his heyday is come and gone. I'm certain 25-year-old Zavala, oh yeah, I bend you over the kitchen counter with authority like a true leader. Now, Zavala, as the current narrative sits right now, absolutely could not do it without weeping, and I don't think he would do it without extreme direction. So I don't think he would lay down the pipe. The pipe is in there. you'd have to go in there. You'd have to go and investigate yourself. Zavala doesn't. His leadership has fallen by the wayside since his homie Cade got murdered, and he did nothing. He's never responded since his homie got gunned down, and he chose to do nothing. That's been a downturn in his character, and has continued to be so for years. And he's still still doing.
That's one thing I didn't understand in Destiny.
Right.
Why? Right. Like the whole thing with the Guardians is we're immortal space wizards. Who cares if someone tries to get revenge for what we did? We're immortal space wizards. Who's gonna check us? What are they gonna do? Kill us? We just come right back.
Right. I've always said that the death of Cade 6 is one of the worst written things ever in the series. Like it was like, you ever hear someone, it was on the equivalent of someone firing a gun in a crowd to get everyone to look at the person or to move everyone. It was not any actual narrative purpose, because then it just simply centered around the idea that all of a sudden someone's ghost is going to reveal itself so that you can shoot the ghost and then make the person mortal, which the whole point of the ghosts is that they never show themselves and they keep bringing back guardians. And that's fucking annoying. The only time, as a matter of fact, it's either guardians to die, they have to go in an area so dark that the light doesn't reach them, like the center of the moon, or you have to nuke the area. So you can kill a guardian in a nuke. If you nuke the area from orbit, you can kill a guardian because you're going to catch the goats in the explosion. So you would, if you nuked an entire area, you'd kill like a fire team, you'd have to use a nuclear device. So, and that's established. So Cade 6 dying was bad writing to get our attention, and the rest of the writing was good, but Cade 6 got thrown into he's a sacrificial lamb to get our attention. Essentially killed all the humor in the series to let us know that they're being very serious.
It really
how much of that was centered around they just couldn't afford Nathan Fillion anymore.
Wow.
Like I was still playing at that time. It didn't even make sense.
No. They did something similar this season. I'm actually don't know if I should be talking about this particular season, but they're playing
It's Destiny spoilers.
They're playing. All right, Destiny spoilers. They pause for spoilers. Mark for spoiler. All right, and they killed Osiris's ghost, Sakura, off screen. Oh no, she sacrificed herself because he's fucking around. Also, Aldrin, who you shot at the end of the Forsaken campaign, was brought back as a guardian, but his ghost is rigged to explode by Spider, who's at peak crime boss this season. So there's a lot of ghosts being unusually accessible to people when ghosts are invisible and actually can fly pretty high. So you don't find ghosts typically because they're nowhere you would find them and invisible and avoiding you. Pretty good way to avoid getting shot or blown up. So, yeah.
I feel like they're like lantern batteries.
Yes.
Like they're supposed to be just in pocket dimensions that only the Green Lantern can get to. So when Destiny 2 started and they said, cool, how do we take away the immortal space wizard, take away the traveler? I'm like, okay, that's actually this is an interesting thing to do. But you can only do that once. Right? Like we've already cheated death. Now it's like, well, we're immortal somehow now. And it's like, okay, I guess. Because it's a very weird narrative choice that they've decided to go down.
Right.
Good luck.
Right. They should make it should always be a big deal about Guardians ghosts being killed. It's always a big deal. They wasted it. It did have the benefit of setting as a flashpoint for like Zavala, who lost his ability to lay pipes somewhere around the murder of his friend Cade 6. That murder is narratively questionable, but it affected Zavala in such a degree that he's an ineffective leader, and I've grown to dislike him. He's actually pseudo-abusive because the only time he appears or pipes up is to yell at women doing stuff. Quite literally. Is the only time he's ever doing anything is he's yelling at Eris Morn for investigating the darkness, or Anna Bray for investigating the Warmind. That's the only time he's spoken up with his chest in 2 years since Forsaken, by the way. That's it. So not only is Zavala is... We'll go on?
No, it's such a complete reversal from the version of Zavala that existed before Forsaken.
Yep.
I mean, the more I play...
Like, he wasn't this bitch made before Forsaken. Like Destiny 2, he was, yeah, we don't have the light, but we still got to fight and struggle. He gets the light back. It's like, okay, cool, we're taking the tower back now. Lock and load, bitches.
Right.
Now it's just like, well, we can't risk reprisal. Why not? There's literally no consequence for what we do. Death is a minor inconvenience.
Yes. I mean, the failure of Vanguard leadership is a whole ass discussion in and of itself. Cade died. Zavala has chosen to do nothing, quite literally nothing. Has yelled at everyone who's tried to make advancements in our own ability to deal with whatever's coming in the future or interact with it. And yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Next question.
Next question.
Which is a great follow up, I think, for this. If Zavala and Eris were to get in, sorry. Oh yeah, do you think he'd be ready for that crazy ass Eris work he about to get?
Absolutely not.
No.
He would not be prepared for that level of
anarchy. Not ready for anything.
Well, damn.
No,
he's literally not ready for anything.
No, the great intergalactic purveyor of butters and lotions that is Eris Morn. No,
absolutely not.
No, she knows too much. She's been too many places. Definitely not.
No. And 3.
Mm-hmm.
Would you save Glint and Crow from the spider, or are y'all still mad at him over Cade 6, even though he is a new person, the light chose him?
I don't have issue with the Crow, because we actually, I don't know. He doesn't know anything, so I can't. If we live in a world where every odd corpse might be brought back, given superpowers with no recollection of who they are, then how can I get mad at the corpse being reanimated? Like, we are magical zombies, the best zombies ever made, but still zombies nonetheless. So, unless there's no reason for me to be mad at a reanimated corpse. I can't.
The corpse doesn't know.
The corpse doesn't know. So, also the light choosing him means nothing. The light is there's a funny thing about there's a funny thing about the lore around Aldrin coming back. Originally, he was brought back. I forgot the name of the ghost that brought him back. Was named like Pork Bun or something like that. Let me look. It wasn't Glint. There was a ship that had lore that explained that the ghost that brought him back was actually childlike, kind of like Pinocchio. Like, it was like a kind of a little bit of a dense, a very joyful, very hopeful ghost, childlike ghost brought him back. And it brought him back, and every Guardian knew who he was. So every Guardian hated him. So he never took off his helmet. And his exchanges were of a deeply saddened man who was hated and did not know why, and his childlike ghost telling him to be happy and you can do it the whole time. That dynamic, that ghost Glint that's with him in the DLC is not the ghost from the lore. It's in the game about him being brought back. The reason why he was brought back is because the ghost that brought him back is a bit of a ninny. And the ghost was just like looking around and it was like, this one, ding, and then brought him back. And everything's hard for him, but the ghost is very hopeful. That's the dynamic. They removed all that and just kind of stuck him with Spider. And it makes sense because the only bit of lore that connects this season to when the ghost brought him back in Forsaken is this one ship's lore, this one holiday event ship lore. So it's like, if you remove that, then the story continues very neatly. But it's weird that they put that lore up and then they ignored it completely, because it would have been funny having miserable, moody Crow, Spider, and then essentially a very happy 12-year-old ghost talking to each other. That would have been funny. None of that happened this season. So it's weird that that the lore around Aldrin changed. Very strange. But yes, I don't care about Crow. He's already, Aldrin died. Somebody shot him. I don't know who it was. Some nigga shot him. He deserved it. Then he died. Now he's good. I mean,
it sounds like what you're saying is being free of Activision has not stopped the creative inconsistencies
Oh no
in the Destiny world.
Oh, no. It sticks out because this is it. Destiny in terms of its narrative is the best it's ever been by a mile. Since Forsaken going through Shadowkeep, it's been very wildly consistent. That's why I notice it because it's strange and it's unlike them since Forsaken or so. The narrative for Destiny has been top notch and it's been being told in a very interesting way. A combination of lore and items and in-game storytelling and visual storytelling, especially now since Beyond Light is effectively Destiny 3. It's actually really good. Like, Destiny's story is actually rather riveting, and they're just following it. They're not trying to obfuscate it. They're just like, this is the story. We will continue telling you this story. They're not trying to get cute. So it's actually the best the story has ever been, which is why this omission's so strange, because it's this singular omission from a story that's actually really, really well contained and aware of itself in a way Destiny 2 Year 1 was not at all. But all that to say, Uldren's dead. The Crow is alive, and I'm waiting for Sting to see the Crow and then steal that gimmick too. That's all.
I love Destiny, so like I love Destiny shit talk.
Right. Problem is, the thing about Destiny is that Bungie's been doing really, really well. And also another thing is that like a lot of the shit talk around Destiny is just like I don't know where to say this, but like Destiny's a AA game now. It isn't what it was when Activision was pouring $500 million a year on top of this project. Destiny's just a AA game now. And as a AA game, it's really good. It's great. But if you're expecting what you got back when Activision was tag teaming and they had the use of 4 and 5 satellite studios, we're never going to get that again. It's a AA game. Destiny 2 is a AA game and a very ambitious one, and they're doing pretty good. Especially a AA game being developed at home. They're doing pretty good.
So it's Warframe.
It's closer to Warframe than it's ever been, yeah. In terms of cohesiveness, yeah. It's a much smaller, tighter game. Yeah, some people don't like it, but again, smaller game.
I do have to say that this does also, there's a lot of stuff that does really show that it wasn't Activision that was forcing some of these decisions.
Oh no, the thing about Activision is Activision was giving them the money to have a AAA game of this scale. So I'm not even saying Activision was like doing one wing or the other. I'm saying Activision was footing the bill for them to have a DLC that was produced by 4 different teams. We're not going to. So now it's like Destiny's a much smaller game now, and it's working. It's better for it. It's much better for it. And whatever dumb decisions Bungie has made when the game first came out, they've definitely turned the corner on it. And I say that because there's always people always complaining about Destiny, but the talking points are now officially almost entirely either old or selfish. Almost all of them. So if we're going to complain about Destiny, we now need new talking points. And that's all I'm saying. If you're listening to this, I'm challenging you to come up with new complaints about Destiny 2. That's it. You ain't got to do it now. It's your New Year's resolution. You got a whole year. We're still going to be trapped in the house. Whole year. New complaints. That's all. Everyone. New complaints. Pulled pork is the ghost. Thank you, Aaron Babb. Pulled pork was the name of the ghost. He was an absolute goofball who randomly revived Uldren and is like, you can do it. Merry Christmas. And everyone's like throwing rocks at him and shit because everybody knows he killed Cade except him. He's the only nigga that doesn't know. And Pulled Pork doesn't know. That's why he revived him. That's the point. That would have been fun. I don't know who the fuck Glint is. Nobody knows who the fuck Glint is. He ain't a child and he ain't funny. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, are there any other more questions?
No, I just looked at the market boards and decided to cry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
That'll happen.
Oh,
That'll happen.
bad. Somebody
By the way,
dropped the price of one of the earrings down to $300K from $600K.
it was 1 million this afternoon. Because I just checked because I'm like, at some point I'm probably going to want to craft. Let me see what the markets look like now. Oh wow, equipment's still going for 1 million a drop. That's neat. Mats are down to 1K.
It depends on the equipment. Healer gear's tanked. Healer gear's tanked.
Well, I looked at healer gear specifically because you were saying it was selling like crack. And I was like, these look like 1980s crack prices.
Well, it goes
looks like with crack.
It goes with wave. It goes in waves. So like once everybody has their healing gear, it just kind of builds up, and then people just drastically undercut each other, and like they don't switch to DPS, which is really where like everybody else is. Like there's 4 DPS classes. There's 4 aiming classes. The aiming gear is gonna sell. So people are
so much like crack in the 80s, instead of diversifying, people wanted to sell that one thing because they knew that one thing was popping, and
they're just
violence ensued.
Yeah, so it's just it's just really a combination of just like people not understanding economics, which is something I'm finding out every day. So people not understanding economics and people being malicious. So like it's between those two things, and then you have just like new people who are just like, this is the right thing to do. This is my first MMO.
So whose heirs do we box first in an ethical fashion? We need
destroy them all.
Fair enough. All right.
Do dope, fuck hope.
Do we have anything else?
We still need to watch Blood of Zeus. We need to watch Blood of Zeus. Well, Bacon needs to watch Blood of Zeus. You're not off the hook. And also, we need to play Cyberpunk 2077 and rush out opinions of the game as fast as humanly possible.
Somebody's gonna have to send me that game. I play on PC. Send me that game. I will do the thing. I will somehow have opinions for 3 different games at the same time.
Well, that's it. It's just 3. It's fine.
So while you're sending me the game, please send me snacks.
Yeah.
Please send me snacks.
Send the snacks first. Send snacks first. Then send Cyberpunk. So when did this become the economy of I have to get my take out the quickest? Like when did that?
Oh no, that's always been.
That's always been.
It has never not been. That's the problem.
Yeah, the thing is, this year there hasn't been the hype machine. The most hyped game of the year has been Cyberpunk 2077. Mostly on the back of its own marketing campaign, but also because CD Projekt talks out of both sides of their mouth. So they've been essentially riling up everybody for some reason through some manner of something. And so it's now like it's got a lot of momentum and a lot of value is being placed on this, the game of the year. Not the game of the year, but the game of the year. So yeah, so now people are desperate to tell us what they think of it because everyone's been really thirsty to play it anyway.
Yeah, there's a couple of different things happening, like, you know, what Aaron was saying. The other part of it is that we never evolved we never like got past the point where we must have new game. Like it's a status symbol to have the new game. That's just something that's just.
I have a thought about that now that I realize that we've kind of, in talking to people about, you know, like the value of Game Pass, it essentially rewards the person who knows how to shop digitally for video games. And in hearing so many people just kind of discredit it, I realize a lot of people don't know to shop for games. So, and for a lot of people, there actually has been nothing out for them. And it's hard for you to understand that because you shop for games. And it's hard to understand that because we talk about games. A lot of people here, fans of the show, us in our circle, we shop for games and play video games. But I don't think that's as common as you think. So I think there are a lot of people who were literally starving, even though there's food in the supermarket. They were starving because they didn't know the directions to the supermarket. So they're starving for Cyberpunk.
I was literally told that Xbox doesn't have any games.
Right.
There are no games on Xbox.
Right.
And I'm just like, that is factually incorrect.
Well, Xbox games are to be certified by PlayStation owners. That's the rule I was told. A certified PlayStation owner can then appraise the game status of your Xbox game. I've found also if you're playing games on a tablet, if you're streaming a game from somewhere else in the house to your device, that's not a real game. If your game is not an exclusive, that's not a real game. If a game is part of a paid monthly subscription service, that's not a game. But again, these
because by that same count, Ubisoft streaming also doesn't count, which is how I am playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Right. And you are in fact not playing a real game.
But I'm not playing a real game.
You're not playing a real game.
I don't know how to play. I don't know how to play games.
I think to the rest of the community, we look like you ever throw an unplugged controller to a 1-year-old, get him to stop reaching. We look like that. We're just pressing buttons, and there's nothing on the screen, and we're having a good time, and that's all that matters. But everyone else is just happy that we're not reaching and trying to pull stuff off the table or snatch people's phones. That's how we look.
I literally just spent $2 million because I didn't feel like farming.
Right. So as long as you got that.
Yeah. It's fucking ridiculous.
Right. So people are very much starved for Cyberpunk 2077 because they haven't been able to play anything for months and months and months and months and months and months and months. So,
but they have, which is why I'm confused.
No, they haven't.
Yeah,
it's go on.
Just the wealth of games that I already own. I think so. Over the various sales that PlayStation has had, I picked up Ghost of Tsushima for like $20, and Final Fantasy VII Remake for $20.
That price dropped
I was
so
right.
fast.
And I knew it when I'm just like, I'm not gonna pay full price for this, especially because it's not a live service. I can just play it at my leisure. I'll wait for that price drop. I was right about Final Fantasy VII, by the way. The entire meta narrative of the game is a giant middle finger to everybody that wants to save Ares. Like it is the game is actively telling you to let go and fuck yourself. And I love it. Can't wait for part 2. Can't wait.
Yeah, so like I also really like how, because at this point, I don't know, like, because I haven't played the game, but I've heard the narrative so many times. It's like reading the script for a movie repeatedly. So like I have like whole situations like I have narrative memorized in my head. My favorite part is like that whole like idea of like let's force Ares and Cloud into like relationship, and the game's just like no.
I avoided all reviews for the 7 remake. I don't care about anyone else's opinions except my friends. The game actively hates people that stand this game. And I couldn't be happier. Like that makes me happy on such a cellular level that the game hates the people that made the game iconic because they didn't understand the point of the game in the first place. Anyways, I brought all that up to say you don't got to be starving for games. There's stuff out there. You can revisit old stuff. You don't have to be a hype beast. Games are not Jordans. You do not have to get the game the minute it comes out. Like Jordans, I get why people stand in line for Jordans because you don't know when that particular release is going to come back.
Also, Jordans are an investment. You can literally turn around and flip those for like 3 times as much. That's it.
Right.
Games are
even
games
if
are
you don't invest. Right. Like even if you're not buying the Jordans to flip them and you're just buying them for your own personal collection or for your own personal use, you don't know when the red ones are coming back. You don't know when the Miles ones are coming back, which by the way, the Miles ones are never coming back.
They're never coming back.
I hope. I saw Phenom from Where's My 30 Acres got a pair, and I was like, "You lucky son bitch."
No, those ones are like the next ones that they're gonna do are gonna be a different version. That version is gone, like whatsoever. Yes. They have never in any stretch of anything re-released that kind of version, and if they ever did, it's always with tweaks. That like them shoes are gone. You're just gonna have to wait for the next Miles run, which they'll probably do.
Right.
Because listen,
Which is to say,
yeah.
you don't have to get it day one. You don't got to be starving. You don't. There's food on the plate. Eat what's on your plate. He said as he bought the Miles Morales game day one, because I'm sorry, that was Miles Morales. I knew exactly what I was doing.
Okay. Like with stuff like that, because like I'll do that too. Sometimes I will buy a game knowing that one, I'm not gonna play it, or two, if I do play it, it's not gonna be for like 4 years from now. But the reason I will buy it is specifically so they get the day one support.
Right.
Because that stuff actually counts. Like there's like this thing that matters about it. So like with the Miles Morales game, there's like there are specific reasons to buy that day one. To be like, hey, we want more games like this. We want more Miles. We want more of this hair. We want more black folks. We want more of this. And that like those are important messages to send. Listen.
And that is very noble, and I applaud that. I was being selfish. I just wanted Miles day one. I was not thinking about my fellow developer. I was not thinking about my fellow man in supporting Black content. I was thinking I want to be Black Spider-Man. But I appreciate you putting that noble spin on my greed. Am I allowed to rant? Because we brought up Spider-Man.
Yeah, you can rant. This is literally what the podcast is for. It is a rant cast.
This is closing thoughts, which rants is like in the small print in the lower left hand corner of the document, so it's fine.
If I could put a text box right now, well, I could. I just don't feel like it. It would literally say rants. Closing statement.
So I did read reviews for Miles Morales. I'm not going to talk story spoilers. The story is really well done. I talked about it with D-Palm on the UD Pod, but I read reviews for the game. And these reviews were complaining that the game, quote, does not go far enough with its politics, unquote.
Go to bed.
They were upset that the police were not viewed as an antagonistic force.
Why would they?
And that the game doesn't do enough to address racism and the Black experience. There is a scene in the beginning of the game, maybe about an hour and a half into the game, where Miles Morales is being walked down at gunpoint by the privatized police force of a corporation with his hands up saying, yo, I'm not the enemy, with people recording it, and the privatized cops, the mercenaries, are yanking the phones out of people's hands. Did we all play the same game? Like the villain in Miles Morales Spider-Man is literally gentrification. That's the villain. Like the villain is gentrification. His plot is to gentrify Harlem. That is the game. The bad guy in the game is gentrification. The sub-bad guy of the side quests is also gentrification. It's a white crime boss trying to commit crimes in Harlem to make the property value go down so we can come in and buy up all this property and bulldoze it and put his own stuff in.
You know,
the main bad guy is a corporation who sets up in Harlem under the guise of, I'm going to give these Negroes free power. No, I'm just using this to boost my own sales and drive the property value down and then build up my own corporation. It's Amazon. The bad guy is basically Amazon in Seattle.
Yep.
But you're going to tell me that the game doesn't go far enough?
I don't think it's understood the amount of racial violence that is gentrification. Like, I don't think it's universally understood the amount of...
It really isn't. Do you, like... You all have heard my rants off air, on air about Amazon, and have literally watched me online pleading with people about why Amazon is trash. People don't get it. People are like still like, it's fine. I'm like, it's really not fine. And like, of course, like people just don't understand the violence that it is. And like, you know, of course, people think when they think of Seattle, they're like, but it's all white people. It really isn't. Like, It really isn't. There's actually a lot of black and brown people here, and like all getting shoved out, all like completely. The interesting part is like COVID actually kind of gave a little bit of a breathing room on that because apartment costs are tanking, which is finally happening. And Amazon literally can't bring more people in here. Like they're trying, but there's things like, no, folks need to stay at home, and this is what quantifies as a this is what quantifies as an essential worker, etc. And yeah, and like homie from New York's over here saying like they don't like it hurts that people don't understand how much racial violence that is.
Right. They don't
like it hurts.
Yeah. Yeah. And being from Brooklyn,
So
it's one of those things where it was used as a cudgel before we realized it was a cudgel. So yeah, it's actually pretty big of them to centralize the villain of that. They're not flinching. It's like that's the villain of the story then, Justin.
The villain literally says in the climax, "Who cares about a couple of busted up windows in Harlem?"
Mm.
But the game doesn't go far enough in its racial politic because you wanted to see the cops as bad guys, which makes me realize that people, they all get the practice from Twitter. Like that's what it is. It's like, oh, the cops must be the bad guy. Could it be that what the game Miles Morales was trying to show you is that the cops behave as good people in the game because this is what we want our cops to behave as, and the privatized police force behaves as cops actually behave, and that's the bad guy? Like they're walking around like stormtroopers, and it's like, yo, this is how the NYPD actually acts. That's what the game is trying to tell you. The cops in real life act like these jackbooted stormtroopers. We want cops to act like officer friendly. How do you not get that? Like the game couldn't be more obvious if it didn't look at the camera and say message at the end of it. These people all need a nap and they all need to go to bed. And I feel like I need a nap because I give this my energy. And I don't know why I give this my energy. I know what to expect when I read these things, but I do it to myself anyways. And I was like, how can you
I'm not gonna lie.
That? Did we not have the same experience? And when I talk to other people about the game, no, go ahead.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I get worked up the same way as soon as I start going down my branch of Twitter, which usually involves like some sort of really terrible economic commentary that's actually not the problem that's happening. Just like that's happening. But yeah, Twitter is basically the internet. People are learning things from social media, which is fantastic. But instead of taking the things that they learn and like diving deeper, they're just taking a surface level knowledge and then doing what basically amounts to like clickbait tweets.
We want to level.
This website has broken all of our brains.
I have now, like right now, Twitter for me is now a fashion report and Final Fantasy 14 fashion report and Lalafell glamour shots. That's like I had to like I can't even go into K-pop Twitter. Actually, K-pop Twitter is a mess. I do not recommend K-pop Twitter. Please stay out.
Fair enough.
You know, Red Velvet is in Trolls 2?
Yes.
I don't.
Also, there's a member of Red Velvet that doesn't exist to me.
Who is Red Velvet for the audience?
I'll have to see the story.
So her name is Wendy, I guess. And she's actually from Canada, but she does a black scent, and whenever she's on variety shows, does like this whole like like black mockery kind of thing that just like drives me up the wall. So like it gets pretty funny because I'm in one of my Black K-pop groups. They like literally like remove her from any of the promotional materials because the entire rest of the group is fine. So they're like, look, Red Velvet has a new thing. And then there's no Wendy there. And the frustrating
acknowledgement of no.
The frustrating part about stuff like that is that like Wendy is one who would know better. Like specifically would know better and does know better and continues to do this shit. So that's where there's like, because there's a lot, like especially in K-pop, there's like a shit ton of just anti-blackness and can't think of the word, culture theft. Can't think. What is it?
Appropriation.
Cultural appropriation.
Thank you. Like there's a ton of it. Not saying that there isn't any backwards because niggas get real problematic and like fetishy when it gets to Korean stuff too. Like have seen real scary. But there's times where it veers into like severely into cultural appropriation instead of like cultural exchange. And there's like no question on it. Like it's like, no, this is extremely offensive. And some have no clue. Not gonna lie, have no clue or just don't have the like contextual understanding to understand why it has no clue. And most of the time I don't actually put it on the idol. I actually put it on the label because the label has like almost complete control over the idol. Like idols don't get to live their own life or make their own decisions most of the time. They just really don't. That's not a thing. In a lot of them, there's like, of course, there's like some labels that actually have like allow their idols to have like more freedoms, etc. And there are ones that don't. And especially when you get into like K-hip hop or like into some of the like the rappers in K-pop, like it gets real bad. And so like one, I can't remember right now because this has happened like multiple times where like this one rapper was just like he decided to do dreadlocks. It was either dreadlocks or braids. It was so ugly. They were so bad. It was the worst ever. And like folks were like, you know, the community's just like, we love you. Please don't. This is why. And then he decided to go and do Instagram on why it was okay for him to do so. And then there was a response to that. And then he did it again. And we're just like, now you don't exist. I'm sorry.
Right.
So being a K-pop fan is hard. I just really stick to Shonu right now.
All right.
He is so fine. It's not okay.
I think you need to bring back the titty post.
The titty post never
I actually think it's been a month since I've seen the titty post.
That's on
well,
you.
You bump it occasionally.
No, I don't bump it. I never bump it. That shit.
Oh, really?
No, I never bump it. It gets bumped at least once a week.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
Yeah, people just comment on it for funsies now. Like they literally just walk by. You know how people slap the top of a door when they're tall enough to do it? People just walk by the post and slap it to keep it going. And when
did we decide as tall people that was going to be our thing? Like I don't know when I started. I just know that I can't stop.
I don't understand why anyone wouldn't understand why you wouldn't want to dunk. Like you're just dunking on the door because you can. Because dunking is fun. And tiny people who would never dunk don't get that. It's fun to dunk, to even mimic a dunk.
I actually got to live that experience and got to let others like people who were shorter than me live that experience because I actually used to live in an apartment that was like really anti-tall.
You live on hobbit spaces, little mushrooms.
We did call it a hobbit hole because it was underground. So it was basically I lived in a house that got turned into a that got turned into like 2 units. And so the second unit, which is what I was in, was downstairs. And it was literally the basement. And so they turned the basement into a whole unit. It was really nice looking. And it was like disgustingly cheap. And I found out why it was disgustingly cheap because they were going to be selling the property so they could like get oodles of money. And let me tell you, that place was like the most forgiving place I've ever lived when it came to rent because they're just like, you have rent on the way? Okay, that's cool. Just making sure. I didn't play it like me once.
So,
but like it was literally it was the absolute, thank you, Duplex. It was literally the perfect height for me.
So,
absolutely. Like the door was like my height.
So then you're saying you experienced the joys of casually dunking.
I could palm the ceiling.
Yes. So now you understand the joys of domination.
I could palm the ceiling. I did it all the time.
Yes.
And my favorite thing is that I was dating a guy at the time who was 6'3".
Right.
And so he'd just be like, one of my exes would like hit his head every time. The one I really didn't like, by the way, would hit his head almost every time he went to the bathroom.
I mean, good for him.
I just thought I would share that so you would get that little laugh.
Right.
Every time he went to the bathroom, he smacked his head. It was great.
Okay, so that is that's why we slap the door frame. It's
so anybody who came into that apartment would just be like,
right,
I could touch the ceiling.
Right. It's fun to dominate, really. It's fun to dominate. That's why we do it. And if you could, in fact, dominate, if you got a taste of domination and you understand how joyful it is to dominate, as Bacon just illustrated, that's why we slap the door frame. If there was a rim on the door, we would dunk every time we left the room. We'd find something to throw a nasty one-handed tomahawk on our way out that room every single fucking time.
Also in Arizona, in Tucson specifically, I should always specify Tucson because like Tucson and Southern Arizona have completely different like housing structures than like the rest of the state. So like in Arizona, like in Tucson, the houses have like really high ceilings, like super high ceilings. But the hallways are always like super short. So like the hallways would be like right here, and then the rest of the ceilings in the place would be really tall, and that's to like create heat distribution because it's really hot there and hot air rises, so that you want to give like any additional heat that you build in your house, you want to go up. So yeah. And so I would just like every time I would walk to the hallway, I'd just be like, bam. So it's where I understand tall life, but I am not at all.
That's fine. As long as you experience it and you understand why we do it. And that's that.
I think it starts young because we have a little basketball rim on Jonathan's door. And when he walks in, he'll slam dunk, make sure he has his basketball. And when he goes to bed, he'll slam dunk before he goes to bed.
Fucking it right. Every human being wants to dunk. The littles go so long without dunking, they don't understand. They forget. If you can dunk on anything, you will dunk on that thing because we're only human and limited. We're all human and limited by our humanity. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for listening for a fantastic program. Thank you for being here, Justin. Thank you for
watching and chatting.
Thank you for the people watching on Twitch. Thank you for the live studio audience. And remember, guys, everyone play Shadowpunk. You know what? Everyone play Shadowpunk 2194. And at about
Valhalla. Shadowpunk 24
Valhalla, right? And about maybe an hour into the game, go on Twitter and post a whole thread in review of the game. The spirit of the season. It's here. The hype train is pulled into the station. We don't need nuanced opinions. So I want your least nuanced opinions. Everybody, go play Astrophysics 95 and go to town. I want maximum opinions. I want one tweet thread per hour about the entirety of the game. And when you are corrected, I want you to quadruple down on what you tweeted about that you know nothing about. And then insult that person. It's an ongoing developing story. But right now, everyone has their mission statement. Go forth, be toxic. Thank you guys for listening. And
go forth and be toxic.
Have a pleasant day.
Go ahead, stand up, stand up, stand up.